Okay, let's move on to the extra points. Let's talk about the NFC North, Phoebe. Potentially the best division in football, because this is, we just mentioned the Chicago Bears right there. The Chicago Bears are potentially the worst team in that division, and they're still a good team. You've got up until last weekend, the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. You've got the Detroit Lions, who beat the Vikings, and the Green Bay Packers, who have shown some talent as well. I mentioned this yesterday to a Green Bay Packers fan, actually, how amazing it must feel to be part of this division, which is going to have so much competitiveness. It's going to be entertainment for hopefully years and years. But at the same time, anger and annoyance, because it's going to be so hard for your team to get through year after year, because the NFC North is just superb so far.
Yeah, it's stacked with talent. This is what we love to see. We used to find this in the AFC, where you have those incredible quarterbacks, who run the league, and now this is the most competitive division in all of the NFL, and no one would have predicted that coming into it. It was great to see the Lions-Vikings game last weekend, because really it was a huge test for the Vikings. How do we fare against a team that is consistent? How do we fare if we are having to come from behind at some point? They had some answers to the questions. I think Kevin O'Connell did a really nice job of managing Sam Darnold throughout. And the Lions are just proving to us that actually they really are a Super Bowl contender. And they're not only phenomenal on offense, Jared Goff having another great day, connecting with Amon-Ra St. Brown, putting together a 2-minute drive. But Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, that safety duo, they are the reason that you might really get to the Super Bowl and could potentially win it. Because when you've got a duo like that, they're unstoppable. And then you've got offense and then special teams, some questionable things early on going for that fake punt. I don't know if you need to do that.
Oh, yeah, but that is so Dan Campbell.
I know, but you were...
It is.
But, look, if you look at it, you can tell how competitive it was when both teams were using timeouts within the first quarter. You've got I think they were 3 minutes in, and they're going for a fake punt on their side. It just goes to show how much it means to them. But I think they bring so much excitement. I love what Ben Johnson's doing. That was really the battle of Ben Johnson and Brian Flores, and it was fantastic as a fan.
So I heard somebody the other day say, and I quote, "I can see all 4 teams make the playoffs." Is that unprecedented? I feel like it might be unprecedented. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it is unprecedented, but it could potentially happen. You look at what the matchups are going to be going forwards. I really think that they could make it, or if you're looking at maybe the top 3 end up getting through. But I think it would be exciting. To think that none of these teams are really counted as playoff contenders. That the Bears would get there. Green Bay was unsure a little bit. Vikings, nobody even thought Sam Darnold would get this far. So, yeah, I think that'd be phenomenal to see. And it goes to show these quarterbacks, these are the future. This is their next 10 years. You're looking at your Caleb Williams, your Jordan Loves.
And Jared Goff is potentially the best quarterback in the league as well. Which matchup? Because I kind of think it does seem likely that we might see two of these teams play each other again in the playoffs. Which one do you think is the most likely?
Oh, I think it's going to be, Lion. You might actually get another Lions-Vikings rematch. Otherwise, I would love to see the Packers playing as well. Perhaps one of those kind of powerhouse teams that move a little different to them.
I would love a Bears-Packers, just purely because of it'd just be
nostalgia.
It would, nostalgia, the fun, the rivalry, it would be brilliant. Okay, let's also talk about Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland Browns quarterback who snapped his Achilles at the weekend as well in the game. It's a tough thing, I think, for the Cleveland Browns organization and the fans, because if we're just speaking on the field, Deshaun Watson hasn't been great. And it might be, if we're just talking injury aside, it might be potentially a good thing for the Cleveland Browns to have another quarterback be under center. Jameis Winston could come in. Do you think that the Browns might weirdly be more competitive now if Deshaun Watson's not playing?
I honestly think that they might be. And you're right, it is a very odd situation. I think it's kind of delicate in a lot of ways. You don't ever wish ill will on anybody, from an injury perspective, still, family and whatnot. But I do think that we saw what they did last year with Flacco, right? And how the team rallied, how they had incredible pass catchers around them, what they were able to do. I think they've shown success with that. I think in a way they almost have needed a spark, right? And maybe that is Jameis Winston. If we're being totally honest at the whole situation, you said it, Deshaun Watson has not been the same quarterback that they anticipated him being. Keeping in mind, he missed 11 games last year. This year, he's not been as mobile. We've only probably a handful of times seen him do those Deshaun Watson things we've been used to. And you think about why they brought him into this league was into this division because of what he was able to do. But when he was with the Texans, that was in a time where the Texans were kind of running the board there. The AFC South was not as competitive as it is now. And so is who they got really the guy they wanted? I don't know. I don't know if he'll ever be the same guy again. And
do you think he sort of gets overhyped?
I think so. Genuinely, I do think so, because we've not seen that same Deshaun Watson since he was in Texas. And so now you look at your situation. Could this be an opportunity where, hey, we can find some sort of clause in the contract, whatever that looks like, to just say, hey, let's cut ties, move our separate directions, and you have to put your team first at some point, right? Because everyone sees what's going on, and Coach Stefanski, he can't lose the locker room. And we've seen some things early on, Joel Bitonio, the offensive line, Deshaun Watson offering to help him up, and he's saying to get out of here. There's obviously some friction within that team, and they feel it too, right? They know who he is. They know his past. So you can't play blind to it either.
After the loss to the Bengals, Browns players Jameis Winston and Myles Garrett spoke about the fans' reaction to Watson's injury.
The way I was raised, I was taught to love no matter the circumstances, especially for people who do right by you. I'm grateful that I had a chance to serve Deshaun, but I am very upset with the reaction to a man that has had the world against him for the past 4 years, and he put his body and life on the line for this city every single day, regardless of your perception, regardless of what you thought should happen with him. He committed every single day that I've been here to be the best that he can be for this team. I will never pull on a man when he's down, but I will be the person to lift him up. And that all of us have unique experiences. All of us have circumstances, conditions, and facts that we face every single day. And I pride myself in being a man of increase and being a man that wants the best out of everybody. But Deshaun was treated badly. And now he has to overcome another obstacle. So I'm going to support him. I'm going to lift him up. And I'm going to be there for him. Because I see the way he fights. I see the way that he works. And I know who he is as a person and as an NFL quarterback. And that's all I have to say to address him.
No one deserves that. I've seen him work his ass off to, get back here, in here, and put a smile on his face. Man does pretty much everything right. He's been a model citizen through college and most of the pros.
And that's one of the stories that's trending on talkSPORT.com right now. Let's talk about some more of them. Delighted to welcome talkSPORT's US sports editor, Paul Prendeville. Paul, now that story's been trending. And those last remarks by Jameis Winston, Myles Garrett, I don't know, is strange the right word?
Unnecessary was kind of what I thought. I was on duty on Sunday, and so the whole Cleveland Brown experience has been kind of trending for us all season. I think people are interested in it for a number of reasons. And the fact that he went off in the game, I think just brought the whole issue to a head. Where I think the players could have kind of maybe done themselves and everybody a favour is just sort of stop short. We all get that you have to defend a teammate, and also
no one wants to see an injury.
No one wants to see an injury. But there are times when something has happened and you kind of just know when to stop short. I think without getting too deep into the weeds, that's where I think the players maybe kind of could have been better. Let's put it that way.
Because it kind of feels like, as you say, we can't ignore everything off the field with Jameis Winston, can we?
No,
with Deshaun Watson, of course.
Yeah, with Deshaun Watson, I think we all know it's a story that's been covered. It's not nice, but it's a story that's there. If we're talking about it from a pure sporting point of view, his quarterback play's not been good enough. So, I angled the story at the weekend that maybe this gives Cleveland the way out, despite Kevin Stefanski continuing to defend Watson in terms of his play. But now, there's an opportunity to move on, and I think the players could have kind of just gone about it a better way. It just didn't sit very well, I think.